Hello everyone, Rambling Gamer here, and oh my Arceus, bullet dodged. Pokemon X and Y will in fact be backwards compatible. Thank God! My relief upon learning this was pretty apparent, especially if you watched my previous video talking about the subject of them not being backwards compatible. I was legitimately depressed upon learning there was even the tiniest of chances that we wouldn't be able to transfer our Pokemon to these new games. And now, as Nintendo's revealed the information, it's pretty apparent as to why they were being hush-hush with it. So first up is the Pokemon Bank. Woo, it's a bank! This feature will store your Pokemon on a cloud, or the cloud. I'm going to be incredibly honest here. I am so out of touch with this type of technology. It's not even funny. What the hell is 4G? And WTF is a G6? And by the way, why does this damn thing fly and how does it fly? And why is there a song where they repeat this line 20 billion times? Answer me. Anyway, I'm assuming that you somehow convert your Pokemon into water vapor, and since the 3DS is clearly steam powered, it means you convert your Pokemon into power. I'll think about getting serious here at some point. I mean, it's bound to happen. But your Pokemon can now be stored on this quote-unquote cloud. I don't get it. But it can hold up to 3,000 Pokemon, which is good because in the next 2 generations we're going to be hitting the 3,000 Pokemon mark, and yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed. Anyway, it can hold 3,000 Pokemon. You're clearly far more Pokemon than you're probably going to have. There is a downside of it will cost, I think it's looking to be about $5 to pay for, and that's a yearly fee, which, I mean, uh, big whoop, take some pop cans and shit back. Bam, $5. Bam, Pokemon Bank. Um, but also upon purchasing this, you get a app, I guess, or access. I'm not sure how this is going to work, to the Pokemon Transfer, which will transfer your Pokemon from Gen 5 and allow you to. I'm probably assuming not so much as putting them into the game of Gen 6, but probably more putting them. I would assume into the Pokemon Bank. From there, I would think you could take them to Gen 6. I'm not sure. I guess I really don't know so much how this is going to work. But also, this is a little bit far more awesome than I think you're even realizing. Is this as completely if someone who's developing this game came and looked at my video, my previous video, and looked at the comments and see all the things that people were saying about just all the negative comments about how much they don't like hacked Pokemon, and they're like, you know what? I'm with these people. Kiss those hacked Pokemon goodbye. I mean, clearly we feel for these people. I mean, they've raised their Pokemon and they love them so much, and we so don't care because you're nothing but dirty fucking cheaters. uh, but, this isn't actually going to stop them. More than likely, there'll be a cheating device for the new games. They'll use it. They'll get their hacked Pokemon back. Regardless, this is a pretty big deal because it does show that this group is cracking down on the hacking. I would expect to see some major changes done up to GTS. Fingers crossed that when you log into GTS and you go to search a Pokemon, 95% of the things aren't going to be asking for a level 9 or under Reshiram or Zekrom. Of course they're not. They're going to be asking for a level 9 or under Yveltal. Derp! God fucking damn it. Anyway, trying to actually stay serious here for a minute. Probably not going to happen. The Pokemon Bank features, actually, it's really, really interesting. I mean, imagine for a moment that when Pokemon X and Y released, or sometime after, there's a Pokemon X and Y 2, which I have my fingers crossed for that's happening. I loved the idea of Black and White 2. The idea of a sequel game instead of just being a clone game with some added features is, like I said, if I ever did a review for Pokemon Black and White 2, I would actually put these right under Heart Gold and Soul Silver as being my favorite games, because they actually invoked feelings of nostalgia, even though I had only played the prequel game a year earlier. Um, yeah, maybe some people know what I'm talking about there. Anyway, getting off point, this would also, the idea I'm about to explain would also work if you're choosing to buy both X and Y. Now, clearly, all the games before this, in order to transfer Pokemon between games, we've had to have two media devices, whether that be two DSs or two Game Boys or blah blah blah. You had to have two of them in order to do this. No longer are we going to need that feature with the Pokemon Bank. Imagine being able to pop in one game, throw your Pokemon from the game into the Pokemon Bank, save, pop that out, throw in the other game, bam! Just like that. No reason to go out and buy another device. Which is funny because I did just the other day see a picture for the 2DS explaining it as a cheaper Pokemon transferring device, only for the next day of Pokemon Bank to be talked about. It's just like, oh my god, the brilliance of this is amazing to me. I just went through transferring a bunch of Pokemon from Pokemon Black to my White 2 so I could, get these Pokemon to have move tutored moves. And just the entire thing, I mean, it was far easier than it has been in the previous generations, but nonetheless, still kind of a pain in the ass. And no longer would I need to do this. And this was also something that was kind of bugging me, because I was realizing, at some point I'm going to have to buy another 3DS. Now, I don't. That's I can push that out of my mind now. It's like, I'm not going to have to do that. The entire thing, it's really, I'm very happy about it, as you can tell. Now, the Pokemon Bank may have another feature that I don't think many people have probably even thought about yet. It's a feature we haven't seen in the games since Generation 2. I'm talking about the Time Machine. Now, the Time Machine allowed you to transfer Pokemon from Gold and Silver, and I believe Crystal still had it, back to Generation 1 games. Now, of course, you had to have the old attacks, so you couldn't have any new attacks. But still, just wrap your mind around this. I mean, clearly Nintendo's planning to use the Pokemon Bank for quite some time from now on. It wouldn't be completely unreasonable to think that after Gen 7 comes out, we'd be able to send Pokemon back from Gen 7 to Gen 6. I mean, the entire thing, it'd be kind of mind-blowing. It's something we haven't seen too much of. Imagine having a Gen 6 team. You take them through the Elite Four, then you transfer them to Gen 7, and if you don't give them any new moves, you can transfer them right back to Gen 6. Am I the only one that thinks this is going to be freaking mind-blowing? I mean, it's bad enough. There's already several features of this game that are mind-blowing. It's like, oh, fourth stage evolution Pokemon and sixth generation Pokemon, and you can have two starters, and frickin' Mewtwo's back, and oh my god, when they announced this game, I was excited. It's like, oh man, three-dimensional Pokemon that I can play in 3D, and new Pokemon, and oh yeah. And then all this other stuff kept coming out. We're like, Nintendo, what are you doing? My mind can't process this. Nintendo, stop. Stop, dude. No, no, no. I'm not saying no because it's a bad thing. I'm literally saying no and stop because, like I said, I can't handle this. I don't know what to do. Don't know what to do at all. Anyway, I'll start to wrap this up before I continue to ramble for 20 minutes. Uh, Generation 6 is proving that it's going to be quite the experience. I mean, like I said, everything's blowing my mind so far. Things are going to be awesome. It's actually shaping up to look like it might be the best generation we've seen thus far. But there's one big question, and believe me, it's been bugging the shit out of me. I'm sure it's going to be bugging the shit out of you guys too. X or Y.